Coming up, stop telling people you're stressed out. And if you're one of those people who do it, I'm going to tell you why so you can get that out of your system. And then we're going to reveal the one thing that will make you more money. Let's go. I'm here to help you win at work. My name's Ken. This is the Ken Coleman Show. All right, I am a chief offender of this one. I think we all are, if we're honest. Just constantly falling back on the old, I'm so busy. Like when somebody asks you, how you doing? Oh, I'm so busy. You know, one of the phrases that I've used that is a version of this is I'll say, oh, I'm just trying to catch the tiger by the tail, you know. You know, it's kind of lazy. And now I don't want to say that ever again because it's a form of saying, you know, I'm pretty busy. And we all do this. I mean, this is kind of a social fallback. Yeah, I'm crazy busy. And that's not to say that we aren't busy, that we don't have a lot going on, but we all do this, right? Well, there's a phrase for this in the office, and it's called stress bragging. And there's a new study from the University of Georgia. Kelly will be happy to know this. Oh, no, you're not a Georgia fan. She's from Georgia. She's not a Georgia fan. I always forget. It doesn't matter. But it's called stress bragging. It's a study from the University of Georgia. And this is a thing, and this creates resentment, and it can hurt your respect among your peers. So what the UGA researchers did is they created this fictitious coworker for people in the study. And it's kind of a what if. And so they asked people to react to statements that this fictitious coworker made about a conference that they were going to. Things like, it's just one more thing on my full plate. I was already stressed out to the max. You have no idea about the stress that I'm under, right? So they create this fictitious character, and the character is going, and so one of your coworkers is going to a conference. The company paid for them to go to a conference. Now, some people think immediately, I have no desire to go to a conference. My company offered me a ticket to it, I'd tell them no. Some people go, I'd love to go to a conference that my company pays for, right? So wherever you are on this situation, they laid it out. And so those were the three statements. And the respondents said that they found that type of individual to be less likable and less competent. And had someone just said, work has been stressful recently, they rated that more positively. Or if they had something positive to say about the conference. So in other words, they could have said, I'm stressed out, I got a lot going on, but I'm really looking forward to getting away and learning. And so there's something going on here. What's going on is this stress bragging, this constantly talking about how busy you are, how stressed out you are because of busyness, makes people think you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. You're trying to tell us all how important you are, how much your manager loves you. Sometimes people are just going, you're just negative. Get over it. Be an adult. Handle it. So we understand when people do this that it's either a really intense time that they're going through, very real, or it's made up, it's concocted because of some insecurities, because of some type of void. And so I did some research, and it's fascinating what we find from psychology, but there are psychological reasons why we stress brag or why we carry on, tell everybody that'll listen that we're busy, okay? One is self-worth. You have a self-worth issue. In other words, you're really, really insecure. And so what happens is you inflate almost like that bike pump, you know, on your tire. And every time you tell everybody how busy you are inflating your fragile ego. Because you think it makes you look important. Because you think it makes you look really productive. Wow, you got it together, man. when in all reality, you're a weak mess. You're in shambles. Maybe it's covering up that. Another reason is competence. We want to look competent. And so if we just act like, man, we're able to spin 73 plates without breaking any of them, then that, again, it's all about inflating a fragile ego. But you want to look competent. Look at Fred. That guy, man. Whoo! If I was doing everything Fred was doing, I'd overheat, right? It's that kind of thing. You want to puff yourself up. Here's another thing. You feel like you have to because everybody else is busy and maybe you're not. So now it's like, everybody else is carrying on about it. Everybody else is fried. So if I don't act like I'm fried, maybe they're going to start to try to give me more work. And so, in other words, it's become a thing. And so it's like we're all faking each other out, right? That's what's going on. We're all faking each other out, telling each other how busy we are when we're not that busy. Or, and this is a very likely reality, is that we're all slammed. And so we start just griping about it, and it's a status symbol. Well, he talks about how busy he is, so I got to talk about how busy I am. Or she talks about how busy she is. You get the idea. Here's another one that's very interesting from psychology. It's a way to avoid actually talking about anything. In other words, it's a shield, right? From basic communication or some type of deep communication. Somebody comes up to talk to you, and what do? Oh, man, I'd love to, but I'm so slammed. It's the ultimate get out of jail card, right? That's what it is. It's the old, you see somebody you don't want to talk to and you take the fake phone call. Please tell me I'm not the only one that's done that before. All right? Kelly, the way Kelly's looking at me, she's a big-time offender on that one. She just looks guilty to me. Yeah, look at her. Look at that. This is guilt all over her face. It's the greatest get out of jail card. It's oh, hey, how are you? Yeah, we know you're on the phone. It's next year. This is my favorite. I'm on the phone. I know. Well, you're not. Number one, you're lying. But number two, it's you got it up to your ear, right? So there's an avoidance of something. It's an avoidance tactic. Next, it's about sympathy. Or validation, right? Oh, I'm so busy. Oh, and I'm so sorry. And you get some positive attention, right? And then finally, it's a sense of purpose or misplaced identity. In other words, they're actually really, really busy, and they stay busy because if they don't stay busy, they feel less than. You see this a lot. God bless these moms that, working moms, stay-at-home moms, they just, they got their kids in activities all the time. I was talking about this with my wife, Stacy. We know this couple that we had met, and not close friends, but acquaintances. And we would run into them at one of our kids' athletic events. And I'm not kidding you. Every time we saw them in the bleachers, this lady talked nonstop about all the activities she had going on and all the activities that their kids had going on. And then, oh my gosh, if you're not going to believe that, somehow me and my husband were doing it. And it was just like, it was nonstop. Nobody else was even saying anything. And I remember telling my wife, that's a person who has to schedule themselves into peace. Just overscheduled. I was exhausted. It's like, at what point does anybody sit down and just watch something or read something or drink something? With that schedule, I'd be sitting down drinking a lot. It's like, what are we doing here? And you could see it was about identity and peace. So here's the point about stress bragging. Number one, nobody wants to hear it. Two, nobody needs to hear it. And number three, either it's real and you're completely out of balance and unhealthy, or it's not and you're out of balance and unhealthy. So let's figure it out, because life is too short to be stressed out or talking about how stressed out you are. Is there anything worse than being stressed out? Yeah, it's telling everybody else that you're stressed out. We don't care.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about Aiden. He started at Bethel Tech 2 weeks after graduating high school, and less than a year later, he's 19 and working as a full-stack software developer. He loved the idea of being able to work at his own pace, but what he really thought was cool was Bethel Tech's faith-based learning environment and being with classmates who had a similar worldview. Now, if this is you, or if you have a son or a daughter that's looking for the next step out of high school, and they may be tech-minded, at least interested, you need to talk to Bethel Tech. Listen to this. Fortune Magazine named them as a top 10 best UX UI bootcamp for 2024. And right now, they're offering you 10% off because you listen and watch the Ken Coleman Show. They also allow you to pay cash, and I know you'll like that. Go to betheltech.net/Ken Coleman for details. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. I'm here to help you get better so that your life gets better, work gets better, relationships get better. It all gets better when you get better. And we're going to primarily be helping you get better as a professional. You are a woman who wants to win in work. You're a man who wants to win at work. You are a professional, and we are here to help you. Hey, if the show is helping you out and you are listening via podcast, give us some help by following us, giving us a 5-star review, and share if you're watching via YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, like the video, and share as well. All right, so what is the one thing that you can do, and I could say the best thing that you could do, to make more money? Okay, I was pausing just to let you all kind of populate your brains. Research says the best thing that you can do to make more money is not upskilling. Research says the best thing to make more money is not to necessarily change jobs. Research says that the best thing to make money is not move to a certain state. I could keep going and going and going and going. Research, and by the way, beyond research, I just think anecdotal evidence, and I completely agree with this position, is that the best strategy for making more money is to be happier. Now, what do we mean by that? That is not this. It's not, you had a really bad morning, you got a ticket on the way to work, or your car broke down on your way to work, or something inconvenient happened, and it really sucks. It's not just going, I'm going to be happy. This is not some weird, like mind hack. Because let's be honest, you're not happy when any of those inconveniences or bad things happen. So the word happiness needs to be applied here to a macro view. In other words, if I was playing, I'll use a personal example. If I was playing pickleball and I broke my foot, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy because it hurts. I'm not happy because I probably did something stupid, Bob, trying to be Superman. I'm not happy because I may have to go through surgery, therapy. I got to wear a cast. I got to do all the things. I can't play pickleball for a while. I'm not happy. All right. But if you were to say to me in the midst of that scenario, Ken, are you happy with your life? My answer is going to be, yeah, I'm very happy with my life. So what am I doing there? I'm looking at the big picture. I can have moments of unhappiness, but still be happy. And that's what we're talking about. So it turns out that happiness with the big picture is what drives success as it relates to making money. In other words, many of you have heard the phrase, money can't buy happiness. And some people go, yes, it can. All right? So the age-old, does money buy happiness, is now challenged by happiness allows you to make more money. So it's the chicken or the egg. So let's just break this down. Fascinating stuff. By the way, the average salary that Americans say that would make them happy is $94,696. I always crack up at the specificity of these numbers. Like, really? How did we come up with $94,696? That's for ADHD. We're not going to go down that road, but that's the number. And by the way, these surveys come out almost multiple times a year, so you can always find new data, but there you go. Now, that number is based on margin. So anytime you hear a number like that, they've polled people, and in this position, in this particular study, this was moneyzine.com, and they surveyed 1,200 people. Okay, so that, statistically, that's a viable study. But the point is that they polled 1,200 people, and the number that came up with that was the average number. People said, well, if I made 95,000, some people said, oh, if I made 105. And in their mind, these people are going through their life and they're looking at their expenses, and it's very simple. And they're picking a number based on margin. So if I went down the list to the people in the control room, which I will not do, and I were to say, give me an amount of salary that would make you happy, we are gauging in our minds margin. So that's where that number comes from, right? And let me point out, margin means freedom, okay? So here's what we know. When we look at money versus happiness. In other words, the more money I make, am I happier, or is it the more happier I make, how happy I am, geez, I can't talk, how happy I am drives how much money I make. Well, according to Tammy Muller, who is a positive psychology coach and has studied happiness for the past 5 years, she says, happy people make more money, have better relationships, are more successful in life, not vice versa. And so let's look at maybe one of the ultimate experts on this. It's Arthur Brooks. He teaches a Harvard course about happiness. Okay. And when he walks through his study, and he has, and he's kind of known for his 4 areas of happiness: faith, some sense of meaning, faith, how you view the world. Like, are you just randomly here? Then we talk about family, and then relationships outside of family, that would be friends. And then he talks about work, meaning in work. And those would be the foundational factors of happiness, according to Arthur Brooks. Okay. But the reality is, I think that Muller's right in that when I am happier in my family life, I have the opportunity to go to work free and clear. My brain is not muddled. My heart is not hurt. And I can focus. I mean, I can't tell you how the greatest of jobs will crumble. The greatest of jobs do not matter. No amount of salary in the world, no amount of money in the world heals a broken heart. No amount of money in the world calms a fearful brain. It just doesn't. So, what does it mean then to be happy in my terms? Pretty simple today. Start with your family. What changes in your life if you're not happy, if you're not successful financially? What changes, first and foremost, should be made with your family life? I'd start there. What's not working? Why is it not working? Where is the unhappiness in my family? I'd start with that. Next, same thing with friendships. You spend so much time with family and friends. Where are you not happy? Why are you not happy? What's going on? What's causing the unhappiness? What's causing the stress? Figure it out. By the way, many times you're going to have to make different choices with your friends. And many times you're going to have to put up at least some boundaries with family. Can't choose family, but you can choose boundaries. You're just going to have to get healthy and make sure the people around you are healthy, family and friends being the core. I absolutely believe that you need to have a sense of purpose and faith. If you're not a person of faith, you got to at least reason with, why am I here? And then ultimately, you need to be happy in your work. You spend so much time at work. If you're not happy at work, that is coming home with you. And so those 4 areas, I agree with Brooks, you've got to be happy in those areas. And that's making choices, putting up boundaries, and creating happiness in those 4 areas. And then what that does is it sets you free. Sets you free. It removes all the shackles that unhappiness brings. And guess what happens? You have nothing holding you back. You're moving up. You're making more money. I absolutely think more happiness leads to more money, not the other way around. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Welcome back. Time for a little coaching session. Before we get to that, if you are searching for some self-awareness to get over some confusion about your professional growth or lack of growth, you've got several ideas, you want to confirm some direction, whatever you need that self-awareness for, to really know, hey, what am I wired to do? The book, Find the Work You're Wired to Do, and the Get Clear Assessment. One great combo altogether. The assessment is included in the book. The assessment kind of helps you answer the question, who you are, your unique wiring, and then the book helps you determine or confirm what you want to do and where you can do it. You can get it at kencoleman.com. All right, time for a coaching session here. Caleb is up in Austin, Texas. Caleb, how can I help?
Hey, Ken. First of all, I just want to say thanks so much for having me. And also, I was actually on your show about 3 years ago, and you really kind of helped me through some issues back then, mainly kind of overcoming some limiting beliefs that I had from going from entrepreneur into a career. And so now that really helped me kind of land the job I am now, which I'm really happy in, but I do have some issues I want to talk to you about today.
Okay, great. What's going on?
Yeah, so the role I'm in now, I've been in this role about 2.5 years. I work in the software industry, so I'm in the customer success side of things, where I have a book of customers that I help just basically help get full utilization out of the platform. And so I absolutely love what I'm doing, but I've applied for this one particular promotion 3 times now. I've been passed up for that promotion all 3 times, and this last time was like especially devastating. One of the things that happened here is a new director kind of had stepped in, was in charge of the hiring. And so she had like zero context of all like the previous feedback I'd been giving for my interviews. And I had an opportunity to work with her before I interviewed. And basically what happened is after my interview, the feedback I got was because of that interaction she had with me in that situation, she decided not to offer the promotion. So basically she did not look at any of my, basically anything I'd done in the past. She didn't look at, she was only basing her decision off that one interaction that she's had.
What can you tell me about the interaction?
Yeah, so basically it was account handoff. So occasionally we have like accounts that transfer to new managers, and this was one of the situations. She had hired a new team, and this team was in charge of more enterprise level accounts, and so I was offloading one of my customers to one of her employees, and during that transition, she didn't like how it happened. And I was never given enough feedback to really figure out exactly why she wasn't happy with it. It was pretty vague. Even after like a 30-minute call with her, just trying to determine what actually went wrong, I didn't walk away feeling like I actually had a real reason for what actually happened.
That's weird. So 30-minute call with her, you asked multiple questions as to why she didn't like the transition from you to someone that she was directly leading. But
yes.
But you're on a different team than she's leading. You're trying to join that team. Am I understanding that correctly?
Similar. Yeah, she's not. She has that. She's over two different teams basically. So I would have a different manager than her, but she's the director over.
But
two different teams.
She's making the call. Yeah.
Yes.
So was she just plain out dodgy, kind of like a politician when you asked for that feedback?
Yeah, kind of. And my impression was that there was maybe some other biases going on, especially considering like the people that got the promotion. Like I had like 3 colleagues reaching out to me kind of saying like, hey, I can't believe they got the promotion. You didn't. So it just kind of led me to believe that maybe there's some biases going on. And the fact now that she's got this preconceived notion of who I am and the way I work is just kind of making me believe that that's going to be hard to overcome in the future.
Well, do we know that that's what it is, or is it just a positive bias for the other person? And so she kind of needed a reason to see, some leaders don't want to give you the real. And it sounds like she's not giving you the real. So they come up with something that's kind of vague, and it may feel negative, and it might very well be negative towards you, or it might just be the bias to the other person, and they kind of needed a reason why they didn't give it to you. You see what I'm saying?
And that's kind of how I feel. And I think the most frustrating part of this was that, like, even when I let her know, it's like, hey, look, I've actioned on, all the feedback I've had in the past from my past experiences interviewing. And she's like, her response was, I have no idea what feedback you got in the past. So it was just frustrating to see that, like, that was never taken into consideration for promotion. It was basically all based on the one interaction that she had with me.
And it's negative, right? Like she said, you didn't do this, this, and this, or you don't know.
In her eyes, it was negative.
Okay. And it doesn't feel like she was warm at all for other opportunities. She didn't kind of encourage you, did she? Just feels real distant and just kind of like, sorry, it's matter of fact. Here's how it's going.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt.
Yeah. All right. So I think I got a good feel for it here. So how can I help specifically?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to figure out now, it's like, do I kind of stick it out here? Like I mentioned, like I love the role I'm in. I love what I'm doing, but I need to make more money to support my family. So do I continue on in this role and continue to try to apply for this promotion, or do you think it might be a good opportunity to start looking at other roles elsewhere?
I certainly think it's a good idea to look at other roles elsewhere. What I'm curious about is you said, hey, I need to make more money for my family. So that leads me to believe that this was a step on the ladder. And my question is it on the right ladder? Like, are you positioned in a normal situation? Were you in this role because you're going, this is helping me to get ultimately where I want to go?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What is it that you're going for? What are we shooting for?
So basically, it's just like the way your org is structured, there's kind of like 4 different rungs on the ladder for the type of role I'm in. And so it's basically just kind of moving up the rung. So I would say my ultimate goal is to move into like leadership or management. But in order to do that, I kind of have to work in these other roles first before I can kind of transition into that.
Right. And it just doesn't, to you and me, I just don't think it feels good with this current, because she's your roadblock going forward as well, correct?
Yeah.
How do you feel? Describe your emotion coming out of all this.
Like, it's a lot of conflicted feelings. Like, feel very hurt that, that I didn't get this opportunity, even though I actioned on everything that I was told to. I honestly went into this interview thinking like I 100% got this, and then I didn't. And so it just feels like, I'm not being given the opportunities that I deserve, especially when I'm seeing my peers that started around the same time I do, like being given the same promotion that I'm going for.
Okay. All right. The reason I asked that, I just wanted to try to get a sense for where your heart is. And, it's similar to relationships. If someone's broken your heart and in doing so betrayed your trust, can that be repaired relationally? Yes. But it's really, really hard. And in this situation, I don't sense that there's any real, hey, I'm going this direction, Caleb, with another person, but you've got a bright future. Keep doing this, work on this. Your time's coming. There was none of that. And because of that, that tells me that you aren't really highly valued and you may have a personal brand issue. in there that you may not be able to overcome. And I'm not sure in this case it's actually worth trying to. You can determine that. I cannot. So if you feel like it's worth trying to overcome that and you feel like she will give you a shot at that, great. If you don't, I would start looking and go someplace where someone values you, sees your potential, and is guiding you, pouring into you, essentially saying, just do your job, your time's coming. And I don't sense that that's happening for you. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like I felt like I did have that support prior to like this new director came in. But like once she came in, I felt like kind of the tides changed a little bit.
Then I think I'd pay attention to that. So now here's what you know what you're looking for. So start looking for it, but stay the course, keep coming in, being a Boy Scout, and then I'd look for a better opportunity, better environment for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it just feels like it's inevitable, so why sit around and just wait? I absolutely think you find something else before you move on and have a good attitude, and you're just going to have to say, hey, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what I've got right now. That's not where I'm going to be long term, and be okay with that. Thanks for the call, Caleb. The best is yet to be for you. Press on.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.